Well, the Big Beautiful Bill represents a substantial federal investment in the agricultural sector. We want to break down some key provisions and how they could help strengthen the farm's safety net. The man to do that, Roger McEowen with the Washburn School of Law. Always a pleasure, Roger. We're going to start with key provisions aiming to enhance federal support programs for ag producers. What do you see here? What stands out?
Well, we really have a farm bill, Suzanne. This is a major investment in the agricultural economy through the reconciliation bill. And maybe this is the way we're going to do farm policy going out into the future. But ARC and PLC payments are based on what's known as the effective reference price, or the EFR, and the minimum price now is 88% of the Olympic average price for the previous 5 years. That's up from 85%. And all of the reference prices were increased by at least 10%, and some for crops more than 20%. And then starting with the 2031 crop year, the reference price is going to be increased to 0.5% per year, up to a possible cap of 13. Well, it is a cap of 13% of the statutory current reference price. Also, for the 2025 crop year, which means payments that start this fall, a farmer gets the higher of the ARC or the PLC payment. You get the better of the two. And your supplemental coverage option is allowed. That's basically crop insurance for farmers that have elected ARC starting with the 2026 crop year. And that's only been available if you received your payments in terms of price loss coverage. So that's an expansion there. And there's also enhanced crop insurance subsidies for beginning farmers that will increase from 5 years to 10 years with additional premium support. So on the crop subsidy side, that's huge.
Yeah, so seeing a lot of increases, and the same can be said for the dairy margin coverage. What are you seeing there?
Yeah, well, you've got higher premium subsidies that now will be on the first 6 million pounds of production rather than 5 million. So that's a 20% increase right there.
Base acres, I understand that we're also seeing an increase as well.
That's right. The base acres can increase by up to 30 million acres in accordance with the formula. That's more than a 10% potential increase. I think we've got about 270 million base acres. So yeah, that's pretty significant too, because the more base acres a farmer has, then since your payments, your ARC and PLC payments are based off your base acres, and that can increase now, and now your reference prices go up. So you've got kind of this cascading flow here of increased payments to crop production, and that's pretty good.
Roger, we talk about the increased payment limit and also maybe explain a change in the entity rule, the details. I want you to break this down for us.
Yeah, the per person payment limit, the general payment limit has been $125,000. That now goes to $155,000 per person, starting with the 2025 crop year, so this fall. On that entity issue, historically, FSA has taken the position that anytime we would create some type of entity for a producer that limits liability, that's going to limit them to one payment limit, no matter how many family members or how many persons have ownership interests in that entity. That now changes. What they've created is what's known as a qualified entity, a qualified pass-through entity. Basically, in a nutshell, what that means is they're going to follow the tax code. So if the tax rules for that entity means that the income flows through the entity to you on your individual return, whether it's an S corporation or an LLC that's taxed as a partnership, even though that entity limits liability, that's not going to limit the payment limit to one. You're going to get as many payment limits as there are members in that organization. So those of us that do entity structuring for farm clients, we don't have to fiddle with these rules anymore going forward to try to figure out what's your best entity structure, just purely from a payment limit standpoint. But I would add this: USDA is going to have to update their AGI calculations to ensure that this congressional intent, that this new type of structure will work.
Roger, it sounds like overall just a big federal investment in agriculture. And you mentioned, this is a lot of farm bill in the provisions that are in this big, beautiful bill. But at this point, some are saying that we still need the farm bill. There are things that are left out in this that maybe weren't addressed. The possibility of the farm bill, the cost of that, and when you see that potentially happening.
Well, my position is this is your farm bill. There are some other things that are done. I think the politics in D.C. are such that they had to do this through the reconciliation process. Now, if they do another reconciliation bill late in the year, you could see some cleanup things on some other farm bill related things, and which there are some that I know G.T. Thompson wants to get done that was not done in this bill. But this is over 50 billion. I think the estimates are somewhere between 50 and 60 billion of an investment in the ag sector. And it clearly improves the safety net when crop prices are low. That's where I see the major benefit of this is. But in terms of your major farm bill provisions, this is it. And a lot of it's done now through 2031.
Roger, thank you for joining us. Thank you for reading through this bill. How many pages have you covered? This is
869.
Yeah. Point one. Roger, thank you as always. We appreciate you being here. Roger McEowen with the Washburn School of Law, doing a lot of work for us. We do appreciate it.